Hello everyone. This specific video has been created for you, has been created to help you understand what the management or the gateway case study exam is all about. This video gives you a total outlook on what the exam format is, what the exam perspective is going to be, what you need to know for the exam. So, in short, it introduces you to the exam and gives you study tips while helping you also understand how to study step by step to gain a good momentum, to gain a good confidence, to gain a good just an overall approach to doing well on the exam. So this video is created specifically to introduce you to the management case study or the gateway case study exam. So my name is Devansh and I will be the lead tutor for your management case study or gateway case study exam. We are CIMA registered tuition providers. So each and every advice that we give you, each and everything that we show you, explain to you is very well researched, very well founded, and it has worked for hundreds of students that have studied with us. So my job is to give you a strong background, is to give you a good support system for your entire case study preparation. I'm looking forward to working with you on this case study, providing you with a winner's mindset and top quality case study material to make your study interesting and flexible at the same time. So, what is this case study exam? So, coming specifically now and presenting to you about a case study exam. Now, the case study examination at the core is testing your knowledge, skills, and techniques from the three pillars within one simulated scenario and is taken at the end of each level of your CIMA professional qualification. So, the case study exam requires you to have solid knowledge and solid background of the three pillars, which is E2, P2, and F2. So, if you are coming in from the gateway route, which means you have received all of your exemptions, you have not taken the E2, P2, and F2 exams. So, your first job now will be to consolidate on E2, P2, and F2 knowledge to gain a good perspective of E2, P2, and F2 knowledge. Because without that, you can't answer an exam question with 100% confidence. So the management case study comes at the second level of CIMA. The first is your certificate level, comes then you go on to the operational level, then you go on to the management level, and when you've completed the three papers, which is E2, P2, and F2, this is the conventional route, you reach the management case study. If you're coming in from the exemptions, you directly take the management case study through the gateway route, but you still will need solid knowledge of E2, P2, and F2. Approximately 40% of your marks in the exam are based on E2, P2, and F2 technical knowledge. So, this case study exam is specifically, or you can say, a scenario based exam. You receive a fictional company which is created by CIMA and it's available to you a month and 2 weeks in advance of your exam. So, this company is something that you must understand, you must go through, you must know in and out of this fictional company. The exam is going to ask you questions based on this fictional company. So, you will need to hone in two very important skills. The first skill is the understanding of the three pillars E2, P2, and F2. The second skill is understanding the case study. So, the amalgamation, the coming together of these two things helps you to write a very, very well informed answer. So, candidates are given a fictional case study before the examination and are expected to give solutions to the situations and challenges presented within the exam. So, in the exam, you'll have to go through the scenario, relate it to the E2, P2, and F2 material, and then write a well informed answer. So, based on the knowledge and skills you acquire from these three subjects, you will be able to write a better answer if you have it in your mind. So, if you're coming from the exemptions route, you've not taken the exam, you need to spend more time on, just honing in skills from E2, P2, and F2. If you've taken the E2, P2, and F2 exams, you'll still have to refresh yourself. So, coming now to this particular aspect where E2, P2, and F2 needs to be given great importance. So, for all the exemption level students, like I said, if you're coming in from the gateway route, we specifically ask you to do our MCS revision course. We have created this revision course specifically and only for students that have received exemptions. We have specifically recorded everything for you, made everything available for you so that you can study in a flexible way. So, the first thing we recommend for any MCS student who is coming from the exemptions route is the MCS revision course. This revision course runs you through every part of E2, P2, and F2, identifying important topics and helping you understand that topic in a case study perspective. Now, you are coming to the gateway route because you have either done an MBA, either done any other degree that has given you these exemptions. But specific knowledge is something that students need to gather, and that is what my revision course is. Specific CIMA knowledge is what you must gather, and that is what my revision course is all about. So, as you can see over here on the right hand side, the image shows you an explanation that we are making as part of the revision course. You can see the notes that are showcased, you can see the highlights, the arrows, and this is explained in a very, very easy video format. And on the left hand side, you'll see a small image which says learnings from this chapter. So after each and every chapter, you receive a learnings document that tells you what you must focus on from that chapter. So for example, in that chapter you studied activity based costing. So the end of the chapter, the learnings will say that you should know the principles of activity based costing, and you should know its advantages and disadvantages. So the learnings act as a trigger to question yourself. Plus, it shows you what is important, what you must know, what you must have a clear vision of. So, this is the MCS revision course. It's a 22-hour video recorded course which includes E2, P2, and F2, everything well explained, well broken down, makes it easy for you. But it is a lot to cover. That is why we always ask everybody to start early. Now, you might think that is this revision course only for students who come from the gateway or the exemption route? I will say mostly yes, but it's also for students who are studying after a long break. It's also for students who have taken the E2, P2, and F2 exam a long time ago and they need refreshing. So, we still recommend the revision course along with my revision notes to help you quickly brush up on your important concepts. So, from the beginning, we learned that this exam is an amalgamation of a scenario based case study plus E2, P2, and F2 specific knowledge. This is something that is vital and something that I will really stress on as we keep moving forward. Bit more about the exam facts. Now, the exam is a computer based exam. You will have 4 questions and a total time of 3 hours, meaning each question they have given you 45 minutes. So exam made up of 4 questions and 45 minutes for each question makes up your 3 hours. Now each question will have multiple smaller or sub questions under it. So for example, question number 1 can ask you to do 2 things: give me advantages, give me disadvantages, give me recommendation. So they can ask you to do multiple things under a question, and all these 3 tasks, as we call them, need to be finished in the 45 minutes that they have given to you. So when you see a question, when you see the multiple tasks that have been given to you have to type it out, you have to plan your answer, read the question, understand the question, make your points, type it out, and then check your answer in those 45 minutes itself. So you're supposed to finish all the subtasks within those 45 minutes, because after 45 minutes, the answer automatically gets submitted. You cannot go back to question number one. So after 45 minutes are up, you will automatically be moved on to question number two, and the time starts to elapse. You cannot go back and check answer number one. So it's very important that you develop a skill, you develop a knowledge, you develop in your brain a tactic that you're going to use in the exam. How will you plan? How will you develop your points? How will you put everything? All of that we will tell you. All of that we will teach you step by step. That's part of our course. But as you can see, you have a lot to do in those 45 minutes. So your brain needs to be trained on what it's supposed to be doing as soon as the timer starts. So lots and lots of practice is what we encourage. Next, the case study updates. Again, what's new with the 2019 syllabus? So now your case study is not any longer called the integrated case study exam. The integration marks, which were earlier set aside for you to combine your knowledge from E2, P2 and F2. So for example, in answer number one, they asked you about costing techniques. So you wrote this is a costing technique. You gave the different costing techniques. But if you were to give them something extra, like let's say somehow in your answer, build in team management, or somehow refer to an IAS, refer to an IFRS, where you are linking your E2, P2 and F2 knowledge in one answer itself, you are given something known as integration marks. But now all of that's gone. You don't necessarily have to do that to get extra marks. Because they have introduced the blueprints, which is core areas, the blueprints does the job of the integration, because the blueprints are integrative and cover different syllabus areas themselves. So integration marks are no longer awarded. The marking process has also changed. As we will see on the next page, you will now have indicative markings and timing hints on each question. So they'll tell you that subtask A should have 55% time devoted to it. Subtask B should have 45% time devoted to it. So that's something to your advantage. Now each case study has its own syllabus blueprint called the I can statement. So like we have been speaking about the blueprints are also called I can statements. So what is, the role of a finance manager? First of all, we'll deal with that, then we'll go on to the other parts. So any finance manager in any business generally has these following roles, which we are going to indicate over here. So you have the responsibility for monitoring and implementing the implementation of the strategy in the medium term. So first job is you will need to monitor and implement strategy in the medium to long term. It's not really, with a horizon of more than 5 years. Whatever you give them should be between 2 to 5 years or 3 to 5 years of a time horizon. Generally keeping that in mind. So that's his first job. Second job is collaboration with colleagues from the finance and other disciplines to make the decisions concerning investment projects, product developments, product pricing, and it also drives or also wants junior accountants to support the role that the finance manager or the company is trying to achieve. So getting the work done from junior accountants, making sure they're happy, making sure the team is happy is also their job. Third, being involved in accounting decisions that affect the preparation of the consolidated statements of financial positions. So as you can see, you might have to make recommendations, you might have to make decisions on the accounting front of any particular task that they put forward to you. So if you look at it broadly, point number 1, 2, and 3, all of them combine your E2, P2, and F2 syllabus. So as I said, the role of finance manager is pretty wide ranging. It has to deal with accounting standards, F2 syllabus. It has to deal with costing, implementing, strategy, and all of that, which is your P2 syllabus. And in today's environment, digital ecosystems, all the digital platforms that you have, all the digital developments which are happening is covered within E2. So the role of a finance manager is pretty wide ranging. Now the management case study exam, a little bit more on the blueprints now. The management case study exam assesses the learner on 5 core activities that are most frequent, important, and critical to the work of a finance manager. So there are 5 key core areas which have been given to you, 5 key blueprints as we will call them, and each core area has multiple sub core areas which you're supposed to focus on. Now, successfully completing this activity is directly reflected in the I can statements that showcase the competencies acquired by a successful learner. So in short, your major focus has to be to first complete or first thoroughly go through the knowledge that a management case study exam requires. First, the first key core area which they've given to you is evaluate opportunities to add value. So as we know, this is the job of a management accountant or a finance manager. So finance manager will have to evaluate opportunities and add value. And as you can see, this is the blueprint that we have been widely talking about. And it has A, B, C, D, and E, 5 key areas. And each area has multiple I can statements that you can use as a checklist to mark topics out of the textbook. So for a very simple example, under core activity A, the 4th I can statement is, I can explain which pricing strategies are appropriate. So this means that in your exam, they might ask you, what is the appropriate pricing strategy for your company, the fictional company that they give you, which will be released later on. So you will be able to answer this if you have good knowledge from the P2 syllabus, where you have studied, skimming, price skimming, penetration pricing, loss leader pricing, all of those different strategies. You will only be able to explain if you have gone through your P2 material, your P2 syllabus. So as you can see, these I can statements, just to show you a little bit of a mixture, let's look at another topic, which is the last one. So it says, under core activity A, explain the relevance of weighted average cost of capital. Now, weighted average cost of capital has been explained extensively in F2. So as you can see, under one core activity, there are different sub-core activities, and all of these sub-core activities, which we call I can statements, are from different parts of E2, P2, and F2. So this is your integration by itself. Hence, there are no real integration skill marks. So you can take one topic at a time. You can pick up one topic and find it in our notes that we give to our students. We will also be creating a separate blueprint explanation document, which will be explaining each part of the blueprint. Each sub activity of the blueprint is explained, gives you textbook relevance as well. So you can study on it. You can go through it in one single document. You don't really have to go through all the pages in our notes. So we do that for our students, but you can also find them in the notes, that we give you, or in the textbook, which is a lot more tiresome. So for our students, we make a full blueprint related document, which is about 30-35 pages, explaining every single sub core activity in the blueprint. So you need to use this blueprint thoroughly. You need to go through the blueprint bare minimum, each part of the blueprint at least a couple times before you take this exam. And when we do our mock questions at a later stage, all of our mock questions revolve around the blueprints itself. So we'll be testing you We'll be giving you lots of practice. It's just your job to follow us in class. Now, a little bit more on what has changed in the exam space. Now, like I mentioned, in the exam, you are given the time that you have to spend on each task. So as you can see, they're telling you that one section has one task. It is for 45 minutes, and there are two subtasks which you have to do. And both of them must be given equal importance of 50%. So if you have 45 minutes, and let's say you use 10 minutes to plan, understand, you have 35 minutes left. So then you will be equally distributing your time of 17 minutes for task A. You will spend 17 minutes writing, explaining task A. But once roughly your 17-18 minutes are up, you start with task B, because you need to give them equal detail for both. That's what has been said by giving you, that's the whole reason of giving you these percentages. Also, another hidden reason which I would call is marking. Now your case study exam, any exam is out of 100 marks, is marked out of 100, and is then scaled or weighted to 150 depending upon the difficulty of the exam. So you always received a scaled score whenever you're studying for CIMA. For any exam, they first mark you out of 100 and then they scale it to 150. For a case study exam, you need a minimum of an 80 out of 150 to pass your exam. Scaled score. But as a general rule, like I said, they mark out of 100. So if there are 4 tasks, each task is 25 marks. Correct? And under each task, they've given you 2 tasks and they've given you the percentage as well. So 25 marks for one answer, one subtask is 12.5 marks. So 12.5 marks for task A, 12.5 marks for task B. Now, generally in CIMA, they say that when you write 1 point, it gives you 2 marks. So one well explained, detailed point gives you 2 marks. So if it's 12.5 marks per subtask, you roughly need to write 6 to 7 points for each task. So you will be writing 6 to 7 well explained detailed points for task A. Same you will do for task B. So this is, like I like to call it, the hidden reason of why they give you these percentages. But in the exam, I always ask all of my students to make sure. So whenever we do our practice, we do it on normal Word files, normal Word documents. So throughout the 25 questions of practice that we do, we ask all our students to write at least 2.5 to 3 pages on a normal Word file. Now, if you have the practice to write 2.5 to 3 pages on a normal Word file, if you continuously practice that for 25-30 questions, obviously in the exam, when you see something like this, your brain already knows what it's supposed to do. So when you've done a lot of practice, all of this you will automatically involve. You won't have to do it mechanically. So I told you the mechanic side of it or the more intelligent side of it. But if you keep practicing, if you keep working, you won't really have to calculate it. So this is something extra that the exam now does. Just to give you a viewpoint again of what an exam question looks like. As you can see, they've given you a small scenario over here. And then they ask you 2 things. A report on significant risks, and then any lessons that you can learn. So they ask you 2 things and they told you that both of them are worth equally, 50% of the marks. So this is what an exam question will look like. And every question that you do with us as part of our course, as part of our syllabus, will also be the same way, same difficulty, and will test you in all these same ways. Now, let's put all of these technicalities aside. If you understand the fictional company that they give you, if you put yourself in the shoes of a finance manager working at that fictional company, if you feel that it's your company, you are working for the company, and you are going to be working for the good of the company, all of this which I just spoke about will come to you naturally, because
Everybody's working, everybody's had some kind of experience. So the more you immerse yourself in the role, the more reality comes about it. The more you will write the answer with empathy. Always think you are a part of that organization, and you won't have to consciously include every skill in your answer. It will come by itself. You don't really have to do it mechanically.
So now that you have understood what this exam is, you understand what the blueprints are, you understand how detailed your studies supposed to be, I now want to introduce you to the two various packages that you have, or the two various options that you have when you're studying with us. The first is the full course option. Now, the full course option is where you get twice a week live classes where we do productive discussions, where we check your answers, mark your answers, where we make discussions, show you what's wrong, show you what we need to do. You get our E2, P2, and F2 study notes. You get my personalized attention. We keep our groups always small to make sure we be in touch with every student. They fill out pretty fast. With our notes, you get regular quiz questions as well. You get, most importantly, the 25 mock exams, which are exactly like the exam. The format of the exam, it is written on my online portal, which is timed, and each and everything that is submitted comes to us via the portal automatically, and it gets marked, checked, and corrected, which we then discuss in our twice a week live lessons. It's a very thorough course. You also get a deep explanation of the ICANN statements, the exam blueprints, and you get a lifetime pass guarantee, which are with our full course, which means if you followed the course word by word, if you've gone through each part of the course, if you've listened to each and every class, if you've submitted the questions in the deadlines, and everything that we say is followed, and then if for some reason you don't pass your exam, we will make available the next management case study batch for you without any charge. We are confident that if our method is followed, if everything we say is followed, you have a great shot at the exam. That's the full course where you get an entire study. Your entire study is handled by us. Then you some students also pick the mocks only pack. So the major difference here is, under the mocks only pack, there are no live lessons. All the correspondence happens over emails. So any questions, any doubts, you email us, we get back to you. You get our notes, which you can study from. You get our mock questions. Again, these are marked, checked, and corrected, but everything over email. We send you the questions, you'll write them, send them to us, we'll mark them, check them, correct them, and send it back to you. So everything is over email. There is no really a live discussion on it. And you get an explanation of the ICANN statements as well. Students can choose any option that you are comfortable with. More details on the pricing and all of the other FAQs that you have can be found on our website. The link I'll leave in the description for you. Now, always note that the revision course that I spoke about from the beginning, the E2, P2, and F2 video revision course, is an extra purchase. Whether you choose the full course, whether you choose the mocks only pack, the revision course comes as an addition, because we have created it specifically to give you that extra jump in your studies. So, having said that, let me quickly show you what our mock questions look like. So, each and every mock question, this is just a PDF view of the mock questions. These are written online on our online portal. Each and every question is exactly in the theme of the exam, is exactly like the exam. And as you can see, for every question, you get our model answers as well, which are very, very clearly split up, which are very clearly presented to help you understand where you went wrong, what an ideal answer should look like. So, on your screen is just a quick representation of what my mock questions look like. They're exactly like the exam. And now, what I'm showing you on the screen is the corrected answer, just a small part of one answer. So, you will see that one of our students wrote this answer. We have corrected it. So we have put some parts in green, we give our suggestions saying that you must write more, then we give a couple of more suggestions. So each and everything that you write, each and every line is corrected, each and every line we tell you what is right, what is wrong, what you can do better, what you must do better. And on the right hand side you see marking scheme. You see how each and every answer is marked, and at the end of the answer you get a personalized suggestion as to how you can do better, how you can make sure that the mistakes are not repeated. So everything with us comes step by step, is very systematic, and it's created for you personally. As we come to the end of this video, what I want to now show you is what's on your screen. So this is just a quick view of our LinkedIn profile. You can visit LinkedIn and have a look at have a look at it by yourself. So as you go through it, what I want to show you is how we maintain a relationship with our students, how all of our students endorse when they're studying with us. And you can see a brief 67 recommendations that have been received by us. These are only LinkedIn recommendations. You'll see a lot more once you go to our website, once you go to the website testimonials page, once you look at our other LinkedIn recommendations and posts as well. So these are just a quick few recommendations that you can have a look at. You will see how highly everybody has recommended us, and these are very, very recent. You can see the dates, the times, and all of that as well right in front of you. And all of these, with every student that we have a word with, every student that decides to study with us, we develop a very close relationship, and that helps them be comfortable with us. That helps them to understand our method better, and that helps them just being able to ask us any questions which we can answer for them in a very, very easy and a very, very specific way. So we hope and we look forward to studying with you very, very soon. I hope you found this video helpful, and I thank you for being here.